Welcome back. We're back. And we have more to talk about. I mean, we probably could talk about these issues all day. I mean, there's
very
so
timely.
much. Yes, very timely. There's so much to bring to the table, especially right now in the political climate that we're in a time where a person is about to become our president, someone who's not so woman-friendly. And
although he claims he is.
He claims he is very woman-friendly.
I think certain types of women he's friendly toward them in a creepy way.
Of women he's very friendly towards in a creepy way. And, even his daughter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on about that, but I'm going to try my darndest to be quasi-objective. But, I mean, I think all of you watching know that I'm not a member of that camp. So... But we're going to explore more about women in new media, women in media in general, and again, like how to circle all of this back to the issues plaguing the country that I think have really come to the surface in the past year with this election. It's just gotten really ugly, and I've seen a lot of women behave in ways that, to me, is like self-sabotaging. It's like... it's just some of the things that are coming out of their mouths. It's like, I don't understand. Like, you are not behaving in such a way that's going to be advantageous to you or other women. And I think that there's still some level of cattiness or competitiveness that is within women, unfortunately. And they feel like they need to pit themselves against each other.
I think that stems from internalized misogyny as well. Because there's this idea that... which is why I think we saw an overwhelming majority of white women, not, black women or Latino women or minority women voting for Trump.
Right.
Because white women are protected by the patriarchy and misogyny. It's like,
right.
I'm sure some of them do experience it as well, which is horrible. But essentially, like, the dominant white male, straight male patriarchal culture does afford them privileges as well.
Absolutely.
And so it's easier for those women to believe in the same notion that, the minute that the one viable woman who could be president, over 200 years is presented and she happens to be from the opposite party, they're like, oh no, we've got to go back to those, those patriarchal, sexist, misogynist men from the Mad Men era, because that's where our country thrives. Wrong.
Right. Wrong. Wrong.
Wrong.
Sounds like...
I can't believe I just said that. Wrong. But yeah, so I think that's where it comes from, internalized misogyny, and also just not being aware of how other people live, and this idea of, well, I'm okay, so screw you. Like, why do I have to care the struggles you're going through? I'm okay, so this is who I'm going to vote for, as opposed to, like, what about our shared humanity? What about us as a whole country? Like, even though we're very different, how do we vote for the best policies that benefit all of us,
Right. I mean, we could look at, we would have to sidebar a lot from this situation from a lot of different angles. I mean, such as the capitalistic structure that our country is essentially existing upon.
Yeah, and who benefits from that?
Who benefits from
us,
that?
Really.
And, it's like this individualism, but then that individualism is also blanketed by the idea that you have to all be the same and like the same things. And
there's only one path to success, and if you don't fit in that mold, well, you're going to get left behind, and then that's your fault. Kind of thing.
I mean, can you talk a little bit about your individuality and the nuances of your identity and what you feel about that and the plane, I guess, that we're in right now?
So my identity, I have to say I've struggled with my identity a lot because I'm Indian. My ethnicity is Indian. I was born in England, grew up in Australia, lived here for 9 years, but I also grew up in a very Christian household in Australia. But in Australia, there's no such thing as like politics and religion. It's not like social conservatism or right-wing politics like it is here. It's just completely different. Like, my parents would vote for the working class party, like the equivalent of the Democrats in Australia. There was no, these are my Christian values, so I'm going to vote accordingly. It's like, what's going to be the best for the economy and the middle class? Like, that's
well, that's really
so
how
different.
It should be. And we're supposed to have something called little something called separation between church and state, and that seems to have just been thrown away because politicians know that they can benefit by drilling in the idea that they have this alignment with God, which a lot of people, that's where they source a lot of their information and their behaviors from, their relationship with their religion. So the politicians are going to prey upon that. It's very exploitative.
That's exactly what Donald Trump did. I mean, 4 out of 5 white evangelicals voted for Donald Trump. It's like he was smart enough to recognize that this is a powerful voting bloc that he needs to tap into, saying all the key words like, I'm pro-life. He's not. I hate gay marriage. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's a businessman.
He cares about money. That's literally all he cares about. Not your money, but his money. So his money. That's it.
Absolutely. And he at one time he was even a Democrat, right? I mean,
he's been a Democrat. He's been an independent. He ran as an independent in 1999 for the presidency. So it's like, you can't really say that, oh, he's a good man because XYZ. Like, we don't really know. Like, he's just crazy.
Have you had any women reach out to you who might be, like, you could kind of sense that they might be a Trump supporter, or they seemed a little more on the right-wing side? And obviously Girl Talk HQ is a very progressive platform. I mean, what would you do in the instance that, say, someone was like, well, I'm a right-wing woman and I want to discuss X on your platform? Would you be interested in that? How would you respond?
I haven't had that yet, funnily enough, which is probably a testament to the content that I'm putting out there, that as much as I want it to be inclusive, I'm very unapologetic about it being progressive, because even, the words progressive and inclusive are scary to some social conservatives. But if a right-wing woman or a Trump supporter reached out to me, it would depend on what she wanted to write about, what she wanted to discuss, and I'd go from there. I would consider it. But if it doesn't fit in line with the values that I want this site to be about, then, no. If she's just going to go on there and disparage people like Hillary Clinton, then no, because that's not what the site is about.
But if it was like an op-ed talking about why she wishes women from the progressive side would respect her views, and she feels somewhat minimized by other women, I would consider it if it's not going to disparage other people, and if it's going to be fact-based too, like, rather than just making sweeping generalizations like, oh, all you progressives don't care about me, because there are progressive women who do listen and talk across the aisle like you were talking about. So it would just depend on the content and where exactly the lead is going. That's interesting. Have you thought of actually doing like a specific outreach campaign in that vein?
I don't think I have time, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, hey, that will be addressed maybe in our social media consult, maybe not, the specific conservative thing, but that would be very interesting to think about. I mean, as we were talking when we were off the air, I attempted, and I'm just going to say it, to create this bipartisan Facebook group for both Trump supporters and non-Trump supporters, people of the more progressive side, to have a safe space to discuss their differing opinions about the issues. Because while I am not a Trump supporter, at the same time, I feel like I need to somehow try and separate myself and not get too emotional as much as I can, because obviously a lot of these issues I'm naturally going to become incensed about, because they're really important, like women's rights and minority rights, and a lot of issues that I feel that the Trump camp is minimizing or working against, or even eradicate or chip away from all the progress that we've seen in the past X number of years. But at the same time, if we are to move forward, as a woman who works in media, and obviously I'm talking about this right now, I feel like we have to be able to have an ability to have a conversation and see, well, why did you vote for this person really? It's just hard, because when I try to talk to them, they often become very defensive, and I'm sure you've had a similar experience.
I haven't spoken to a lot of female Trump supporters. I find it's a very toxic time, and being on social media a lot can be very time-consuming, very destructive, and I want to look after my health and sanity as well. So
I need to follow your lead there.
Yeah, it's been a bit rough, so I'm trying to, and because I recently worked for a political media site, as part of my job, I had to read all these articles. So when it was my own time and when it was just about Girl Talk HQ, I'm like, I don't want to go out, I cannot go out of my way just for my own sanity, just to talk to these Trump
Yeah.
supporters, there's enough information out there for now. And
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, whereas I feel like for most progressives, we're willing to kind of dig in and research and educate ourselves. And this, again, this is somewhat of a generalization. This does not go for every single person, but generally speaking, this is my experience. Whereas I feel like with the case of a lot of Trump supporters, they're like, well, he won. He's our president. This is our flag. Call it a day. You're a sore loser. And that's it. Conversation ended. And I'm like, well, I understand that's your view, but we should really be able to talk about this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a tricky situation. And I think, the two of us, obviously, as women in media, and new media specifically, because that's where people are now, they're online, we, have a responsibility to put out content that is educational, but also positive-minded, and will hopefully set us in a direction for progress and growth, especially as women, because Lord knows we're still pigeonholed way too much.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for carrying on the conversation. Obviously, again, we could just go off the handle about this stuff for a long time, but we're going to have a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to my narrative identity marketing strategy and give you an on-air consult. And we'll see how that goes. Be right back.